All right. Hey guys. I hope you can hear me all right. Today we're going to make a ceramic paint palette. So you'll end up with this beautiful little dish, perfect for your watercolors or your ceramic glazes. So the first thing you want to do is to choose your design. How big do you want your palette to be? What shape do you want it to be? Also think about where you want to place those wells for your palette. How many little spaces do you want for paint? Do you want a big mixing area? This is all totally up to you. So you're going to want to roll out a slab. Use your slab roller if you have access to one, or a rolling pin. I roll this out about a 1/4 inch thick, maybe a little bit thicker, because we are going to carve into it. My slab roller ends up with this like canvas texture that I'm not particularly fond of. So I am going to go ahead and use my smooth metal scraper to just remove that texture quickly. You might feel like you want to cut your design out first and then smooth just the area you're going to use. That is fine. I just like to do it in one big sweeping motion so I don't have to worry about messing up the shape or anything like that. You can also smooth the bottom. You'll notice I am working on a piece of canvas, so it might feel a little silly to smooth both sides when one side is going to be touching the canvas. But just setting on the canvas is not going to make as big of an impression in the clay as it is when it goes through that slab roller. I'm just going very lightly over the surface, kind of skimming off the very top that has that texture. It does not need to be absolutely perfect. All right, and then I've got the shape that I want to use. So I can figure out where this is going to fit. If I need to, I can cut a new piece of clay, or I can perhaps, in this case, sacrifice a little bit of that bottom piece if I feel like that is worth doing. I really thought I had this in a way that it all fit. Yes, there we go. All right, you can do this in just with very few tools. You can trace around it with anything. You can even use your pencil. If you have a needle tool, that's great as well. And by needle tool, I don't mean sewing needle for all you ceramics newbies. I'm talking about this pointy piece here. Just kind of trace around your shape. I have drawn my stencil on just plain copy paper, computer printer paper, whatever you want to call it. Just very inexpensive. You don't need something fancy. All right. So I've got my basic shape. Then I can go ahead and use one of my modeling tools to cut this clay. If it's a little bit stiffer, you might want to use something sharper, like a felting knife. But our clay here is pretty soft, so we're just going to kind of go for it. I like these tools because they get through the clay pretty easily, but they are also not sharp enough that I'm going to risk cutting my fingers or anything like that. All right, if you mess up your design a little bit, don't worry about it, just roll with it. All right. And you can start to smooth out those edges where you cut it. I just use a finger. You can use a modeling tool if you prefer. But you're going to get all that nice and smooth. Once that, I would let it dry a little bit more. I like it a little closer to leather hard when I carve into it. All right, so I've got this guy here. I started a couple carved sections. So what I do is just set this down on top of the shape, and I literally just go over these with a sharp pencil, and then I see enough of it there. All right, and then we've got one of these little carving tools. You're gonna start scooping your clay out of there until it's as deep as you want. Be careful not to carve through the bottom. Make these as smooth as you like because you're going to be the one painting with it. All right, once you have it totally carved and as smooth as you want, you're going to get that on the bisque fire shelf and we'll get it cooking.